Hello and welcome back to the Courage of the Cowardly Dogcast, hosted by me, Alex, and with always, again, is a conglomeration of small dragons shoved into a tiny frame. Notice.
I'm glad that I'm glad that you got you got my number. That's me.
Yeah. I mean, we, we took a bit of a break from recording the last episode to recording this one, but all the holidays back to back to back and the new year getting started, everyone's kind of going off and doing their own thing, and I'm not the type of guy to like rush someone or like pressure someone into doing something. So I kind of want folks to have as much time to like stretch the feelers as much as they can before they get back to doing stuff, even if it's just like a fun hobby.
Yeah, I had a new job, so it really messed things up for me.
Yeah, but um, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to pay for plastic crack.
Yes, I have a Warhammer addiction.
Yeah, I as always I have to ask, did you do anything spooky lately?
Let me think. I probably did actually. I uh I still have to watch Aliens, but that's on my list, so maybe next time I will have.
Have you not seen Aliens?
No, well, that's one of the many movies that I have not seen that I need to see. That's why it's on the list.
Oh, okay, the
Because
original.
I've seen Alien,
Yeah,
singular.
it's a very different movie. It's still good, but very different. Like,
Yeah, I feel like for horror, like for if you're gonna have the same monster a few times, you need to really change things up because people know what to expect now if you don't,
yeah,
and that reduces the horror.
yeah, like it's both uh, Alien and Aliens. There are a lot of parallels between Terminator. Like the first movie in both franchises is a lot more explicitly horror themed. Uh, Aliens is even directed by James Cameron, and James Cameron did Terminator and Terminator 2. Also, much like Terminator, you have a lot of people arguing which is the better of the two films. I would say for Terminator, I would probably put Terminator 2 above Terminator 1, and I would personally prefer Alien over Aliens, but that's just my taste.
Yeah, that's a very distinctly different taste.
I I I can appreciate the slow burn of the first Alien movie because like in that movie you don't see an alien until like the 45-minute mark.
There are some movies where that's a good thing. I think horror, that's fine.
Yeah, like the if you like the first Alien film, I highly recommend the movie The Ritual. I believe it's still on Netflix, but it's very similar in like the slow burn kind of way, and highly recommend. As for myself, I took the break to go exploring for several spookertunities, as you put it last time, and I finished another Stephen King short story collection. I finished Skeleton Crew, which, contrary to the name, actually doesn't have that many stories involving a skeleton.
Damn it, King, you ruined it again.
It I didn't like it as much as I liked Night Shift. I think Night Shift has some incredibly high peaks, but I can see why people like Skeleton Crew. I just feel like some of the endings to the short stories kind of fell a bit flat. But like even Night Shift, as much as I love Night Shift, not it it doesn't have there's some stories in it that are like, yeah, maybe skip this one. Like Skeleton Crew has like The Mist, like the short story that the Mist film is based on, and that's incredible. It's got a like, are you familiar with the trope of the evil symbol monkey? Like,
Uh, no, I can't say I am.
okay, so Stephen King, he didn't. I don't know if he invented it, but he's definitely the one that popularized the idea of like one of those like wind up monkeys that like bang the symbols together. Being
Oh, yeah, I know about those. Yeah, I know what you mean now.
there is a story that involves one of those, and it is a sinister relic. That is all I will say. It's actually really good. Um,
Does it come with a free Frogurt?
that's good.
The Frogurt is also cursed.
That's bad. No,
to
but it's a good little short story, and there's some gems in it. I can't remember like name them all off the top of my head, but some of the less spooky horror-y ones in it are like, okay, this I can see why people laud this collection, because I think that you can only judge the value of a horror writer so much based on how much and how well they write horror. It's when they try to venture out into like other genres of storytelling that you really get a taste and a feel for the quality of their work. Like, you can be someone who's only good at horror writing, and that's fine, but like when like Joe Hill's one of my favorite modern authors, and in his short story collection, the Black Phone Diaries, some of my favorite stories in that have nothing to do with horror, and they're just like telling a drama or a suspenseful story with a slightly supernatural twist.
I think I have a very strange relationship with horror. Uh, because I'm a fair weather horror fan. I really enjoy and appreciate horror from way over here.
Yeah, I would say you fall in like the similar category of John Dilworth. Like, John Dilworth loves horror themes and horror ideas and horror imagery. He's just not, from what I've come to understand of him, he doesn't like horror movies. Like, there's a lot of horror media that's just he doesn't. I'm not gonna put words in his mouth. There's a lot of horror media that I wouldn't think is up his alley. Like horror, like he said he doesn't like horror movies, and I would agree that most horror a lot of has a lot of garbage in it. Like, you gotta
Yeah,
really
no, there's a
really
lot
dig.
of garbage.
Like, for every alien, there's like an alien covenant. For every Terminator, there's a Terminator Genesis. You know, so you gotta like kind of go in and just kind of feel out like what's the horror vibe you dig. And I think I've kind of found mine. And but I wouldn't
For every Babadook, there's a Bye Bye Man.
for ugh, the pee pee poo poo man.
The pee pee poo poo.
That's my favorite.
No, I love that poster. You won't be laughing when he kills you.
It's so good. Have you seen Megan, by the way?
Mithrigan, not yet.
Mithrigan, yeah. I hear funny things about Mithrigan. But but enough about robots. Let's talk about the opposite of robots. Let's talk about mummies and magic curses and how much I love this episode.
This is a good episode, but this episode is one of the very, very few Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes that I have a personal connection to.
Do go on.
As with most people, I saw this episode on my VHS of Scooby Doo and the Alien Weirdos. It was for a while the only episode I watched as a small boy, and I was piss pantsingly scared of it.
Sorry, go ahead.
It was like super scary to me, and I didn't like it, and I was spooked out of my gourd. And now, as an adult, I've rewatched it, and I went, "Wow, this isn't even the scariest Courage episode."
Yeah, this isn't even the scariest Courage episode we've seen.
Yeah, like this really, like this is the one that got like. I guess it also got me as a child, so I suppose I can't exactly try to invalidate anyone else's experience, but I think that it may just be that this one was included in so many VHS tapes that like really made everyone spooked of it.
I think that a lot of it has to do with the look of the villain. I love the look of King Ramses. He's very striking in that he's like a weird CG model. I love the idea of the locusts. I think do a lot of the heavy lifting in this episode too, where it's just this buzzing, horrible black swarm that devours everything it touches. Like, I think that's like awesome. Like it's a such a easy thing to get people to immediately understand. It's like this is bad, and it sounds horrible, and it looks horrible, and it kills you.
I the the episode is very well paced. I think it's clearly a very good episode.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's not like Night of the Weremole where we have like a minute and a half of whack a mole.
right. Like I'm not going to like say that the quality of this episode isn't on par. I simply think that almost by the intention of its creators, it's not the scariest one. But we can get to that when we come to it.
Yeah. So
Because I think you know the goofy bit.
oh, yeah, it's one of my favorite bits. Uh,
Yeah.
so I will say the episode is directed by Bill Marcelli. He's also the director of the Freaky Fred episode. So he's a man of many notable Courage episodes under his belt. Uh, I really like the opening of this episode with the museum heisters, like and like the fog on the road and like the first time the locusts show up. I really like the opening to this, and I love the little
It
musical transition it does when it goes to daytime. I have that in my notes as well.
it reminded me very heavily of a superhero cartoon.
Hmm.
Like the way a lot of superhero cartoons set up is very similar, where you see like two mooks
Yeah,
like jabbering with each other.
messing with
It's
things they do not understand.
yeah, it's a very common 2000s cartoon thing,
Yeah.
but it sets up the plot nicely.
I also love the bit where Courage he digs up the slab and like they're trying to figure out what it is, and Eustace just stares at it, or he's like, judging by the date and the decay on the relic, I would say it belonged to King Garbage. Like I love that bit.
I the but the what happens is two goons, I want to say, who look kind of like cats,
Yeah,
have stolen a ancient relic from a museum, like the slab of King Ramses, and to get the heat off of them, have buried it in the in the front lawn of the most unfortunate family to ever live, Eustace and Muriel,
yeah, the Bag family.
the Bag family.
Yeah, Bagge, Bag.
Big.
I believe it's Scottish in origin. So yeah, they then try to drive off, and they are confronted by a strange voice and a silhouette, and a swarm of locusts descends on their car, and there is nothing left of the car come the morning. And the Bags discover the slab. The slab is mega cursed, as the news points out, and the figure embossed upon the slab vanishes. Courage sees this as, freaked out as Courage often is, and then their day is ruined by the arrival of the only thing more horrible than King Ramses, the British. Their day is ruined, and the irony about the British arriving to talk about how they need to return the return of a stolen artifact is like, I don't know if it's intended at the time, but that's just like some chef's kiss stuff.
That's really. I remember thinking, wow, the British didn't want to steal this.
That's proof either how they know how cursed it is, that even the British, the people that went to Greece and stole like marble from like Athens and blew up a bunch of stuff over in like Greek ruins with dynamite, are like, no, even we don't want the slab. It's only right that we return it to its rightful resting place. Or it's
Yeah,
like,
even we think this is too much trouble.
exactly, like this would never happen, not in a million years.
Yeah.
So I also noted that this particular episode does a lot of like different shots and goes like off model with the characters, but in ways that it's like where you see like a lot of side profile shots in this, or like three quarters pose, or like see them from the back, and like it uses a lot of Dutch angles too in this episode. Like I really noticed the composition for the scenes was different from what we would seen in like the other Courage episodes.
They were clearly experimenting, which is really appreciated.
Yeah,
I barely noticed the Dutch angles, which is, the way you want to do a Dutch angle.
yeah. Like I noticed it because I'm like I've seen this show like a billion times, and like I'm looking for. And I know John Dilworth's a big art guy, so I'm always looking for like when he like tries to sneak stuff in or experiment with like the way things work and stuff like that. And so, and I think they're used effectively here. They're not too much. And I have here in my notes at 5 minutes and 31 seconds, we get the grand entrance, the reveal of the man in gauze, King Ramses.
Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing more evil than an Egyptian curse is TV CGI from
I
the mid 90s, early
I
2000s.
love King Ramses. John Dilworth loves King Ramses. He has said in an interview that King Ramses is one of his favorite villains in the entire series. And I don't think it's just because John Dilworth is the one that does the voice for King Ramses either. Uh, I've hinted in the run up to this episode in numerous off recording casual conversations that I had a bombshell reveal for you. So John Dilworth, he talks about how he loves in some interviews with I think the channel on YouTube is Rebel Taxi. Um, he talks about how he loves mixed media, and in an interview he did with like a blogger, he talks about how he loves mixed media and experimenting with art styles, and he's done work in traditional animation, stop motion, all that stuff in CG, and he the way so he talks about King Ramses, and he says in the interview, and I'm going to paraphrase slightly, that King Ramses, I love the way he looks. He was actually we designed him. We based him off of a video game character from like one of my kids' PlayStation games that I saw them playing, and I just thought it looked really neat. So it is, I believe, 100% true that John Dilworth saw his kids or a child playing Parappa the Rapper and said, "I want some of that," and thus King Ramses was born.
King Ramsey.
He The reason he looks like a Parappa the Rapper character is because he is based on the art style of Parappa the Rapper.
Curse, curse, curse! Return the slab!
Uh oh.
Oh, God.
Just like because that's what he looks like, and now when you hear that, you're like it all clicks. Like he looks like a Parappa the Rapper character. like like the way his
Up,
arms
up,
and his
down, return the slab. I wish I could think of rhymes right now.
Parappa the Rapper is not the best at rhyming. Uh,
Yeah, but you gotta put your best foot forward when you put down a bit.
yeah, we'll work on that. We'll workshop it.
All right, we'll workshop it. We'll have something.
We'll go back and I'll edit a bit in post. Uh, so
Now I know you're lying to me, but go on.
yeah, so yeah, the first plague happens. It's the plague of water. Eustace is not giving up the slab. Every time, like King Ramses demands that they return the slab. Eustace demands financial compensation of some sort.
What's your offer?
Exactly. And the plague of water shows up. I do like that during the plagues, there's always a funny gag with Eustace just getting around the plague. Like in the water plague, he has like a snorkel on. When they play the music, he's got like big cotton swabs jammed in his ears.
I think more than anything else, the music is the most memorable part of this episode for me.
Yeah, the man in gauze, the man in gauze.
King Ramses.
I
So what?
I love that song.
The second plague, my personal favorite plague,
I also have it as the best plague.
King Ramses decides to put a really horrible record player out like and hide it around the house and have it play severely unpleasant music. And that's the entire plague.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a solid bit. I love it. It's just
King
it's so the
Ramses.
man in gauze, the man in gauze. It's it it's everything it needs to be. It's funny. It doesn't stay too long. It's I just love the horrible screams Muriel does when it's happening. Like she's screaming like she's being set on fire. It's so good. So then the plague of locusts descends after Courage deals with the the record player, and the plague of locusts isn't messing around. It starts devouring the house, and Muriel starts cooking. Like I don't I don't entirely get the cooking bit. I think it's like maybe she thinks she can feed the locusts. Maybe she just cooks when she's under stress. I don't get it.
I was 100% under the impression that she cooks under stress. I know people like that.
Yeah, it
She doesn't know what else to do.
it was funny. I laugh at it. I just don't think I'm 100% getting the bit. So they wrestle, they tussle over the slab. They throw the slab out the window, and Eustace goes and grabs it. And King Ramses, demands that the slab be returned. And the episode ends with Eustace punished for his hubris by being made part of the slab. And the British, again, in a completely uncharacteristic move, return the slab to its final resting place.
Yeah, this is a weird day for the British.
Eh. I don't remember the name of the British science man because he does show up in some later episodes. I just didn't really note it down because he's voiced by Paul Schaeffler. We'll see him again.
Let's just call. I feel as though just referring to him as the British will do the job.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the Return the Slab episode. It's easily one of my favorites as a kid, and even as an adult going back, I just had a big smile on my face the whole time it was on.
Which brings us to the next part of this two-part thing that we do.
Yeah.
Was a really weird episode that was just kind of gross.
I I thought it was so how do I say this? I thought I wouldn't like this episode as much as I did end up liking it. Like again, this is one because we've all seen part 1 because of the Scooby Doo movie, so we've all seen part 2, and I remember liking it okay as a kid, and
Was it on the Scooby Doo? I don't remember this at all.
I would assume if part 1 was in uh the Scooby Doo and the Alien Invaders, then part 2 would be on it as well.
No, only that 15-minute short was included.
Hmm.
The foot thing was nowhere.
Well, yeah, that's the whole show takes place.
Yes, according to this,
Yeah, no,
Scooby Doo and the Alien Invaders only showed King Ramses' curse,
huh.
not the clutching foot.
So, real quick, what do you think of the clutching foot?
This one was a little grody for me.
Yeah, I can get that. I, but I took more notes on it than I thought I would take. And well, I guess we'll go. I think some of the gags some of the gags in this carried it for me. So Eustace basically wakes up in the middle of the night with a terribly itchy and gross foot fungus, and the foot fungus looks pretty bad. And the next morning, it still looks bad, if not worse. And so Muriel says, "Don't worry, I've got some home remedies." And then immediate jump cut to her attacking Eustace's foot with a cactus.
And lobsters! Don't forget the lobsters!
Yeah, the bucket of lobsters and the horrible goo.
Yeah, so these home remedies suck. And I
Just
thought we were going to see old Dr.
Vindaloo.
Indian Man, but we don't this episode.
No, Dr.
So,
Vindaloo.
small blessings.
Yeah. I just love that jump cut to Eustace screaming with a cactus stuck in his foot. So the foot's getting worse. Eustace decides to take a good old nip nap, and he wakes up, and the foot has now overtaken 60% of his body. I think that in another timeline, if Courage the Cowardly Dog was made in the year 2012 or something, or 2016, every artist on Twitter would be drawing incredible body horror art of this scene.
Let's thank ourselves for small blessings, eh?
Yeah, I
Thank the
actually thought
Lord
like
for
this is
small blessings.
some solid body horror in this goofy show for children. And so Eustace his body is overtaken by a horrible sentient foot fungus called Big Toe.
You've heard of Big Pharma. Now get ready for Big Toe.
So the Big Toe himself is of course voiced by Paul Scheffler. However, the new voice actor we add to our roster of really that guy in our list of really that guy Courage the Cowardly Dog voice actors is the voice for the Little Toes. The Little Toes are voiced by a gentleman by the name of Arnold Stang. Are you familiar with the name off the top of your head?
I am bad with names, so no.
Okay. I will go over these in like the list of things that you would be familiar least to most familiar with. He was the spokesperson for Chunky Bars. Familiar with the Chunky Bar?
I can't say I am.
It's a milk chocolate candy bar. It's in the shape of a square. Like it's a square made of like four smaller squares. It's got a mixed. It's got nuts and raisins mixed into the chocolate. Be a big.
What else he done?
It's a there's a Family Guy bit involving the chunky bars. He's also the voice of Top Cat.
Oh, from what? What's that? Top Cat
From
from?
Top Cat. Like he's the yellow cat with the purple vest and the hat that lives in the alleyway with the other cats.
Okay.
He's not Snagglepuss. You might be thinking of Snagglepuss. Snagglepuss is the pink cat that is voiced by Paul Lind. At least in the Laugh Olympics, it's voiced by Paul Lind.
Well, what else has he done?
He, for a brief period of time, was also the Cheerios bee.
That nefarious bee.
Nah, but I think his name is Buzz. Buzz is a good bee. He exists to promote heart healthy cereals for you and your family, so you don't die so quick.
Does he like jazz?
I don't know. I think he's more of a. He's always struck me more as like a. More like modern music, like, you know, alt rock in the '90s and stuff like that. No, what am I kidding? His favorite genre is R&B.
All right. Well, what's the most popular thing he's done? Do you know?
The Cheerios bee.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
He's the bee.
the bee and Top Cat. That's it, really. Again, he's been in a bunch of other stuff, but like a bunch of it's like from the black and white TV days. So you like we had with Shirley the Medium's voice actress. Like a lot of her stuff is on Broadway, so I don't really bring it up because I don't know what you would have a reference for, and it's not like you know. It's not like Ma or Eustace where they voiced characters on like these incredibly important like old anime that were like some of the first stuff ever localized in America. So it's not like there's no like greater cultural touchstone, but like yeah, everyone knows who the Cheerios bee is pretty much, and some people have watched Top Cat. They're all like older than me and will never listen to this podcast, but they've seen Top Cat. I'm more of a Snagglepuss man myself. I
Well,
think
like, let's get back to them foul toes.
yes, the Foul Toes. So the Foul Toes are voiced in the style of like 1920s Chicago gangsters. So
Very near and dear to my heart as a Chicagoan.
yeah, a little known fact: Notice is a distant descendant of Albert Capone.
I am not.
So they wanna knock over a bank, see, and they decide to hold Muriel hostage, and they threaten that if the dog doesn't do what they want to, see, they're gonna give her the squeeze, and then Muriel farts.
Yeah, she does do that.
So the Courage acquiesces to their demands because, priority one, save family. And if that means he's got to rob a bank, that's what he's got to do. And
Yeah, so
he's
he gets in this adorable little crime, like generic criminal uniform, and he decides that, well, if he can't get in the front door of the bank, he'll just crawl into the ATM and try to get the money out of that.
he is a markedly good burglar. I have noted here. Like his plan almost works. It's just when he gets to the big lava moat that every bank has, that's when the things fall apart.
Well, that's where all the robberies tend to fall apart. You never plan for the lava moat.
I do like that when he tries to just pour ice cubes in the lava, he just goes like, I don't know why I thought that would work. So Courage tries to get the vault open and he ends up accidentally blowing up the money. The Foot gets mad and Muriel farts again.
Unfortunate.
They go. The next plan is to knock over a train, and the plan to stop the train is just to literally have Courage stand in front of the train, and then the Foot will kick it over. And the bit when the Foot kicks the train too hard because he slips on a banana peel and the train just goes sailing off into the distance like Team Rocket made me chuckle. I just I just love. I don't know why it gets me right in the funny bone.
I I think that what what is it about, like, the thing I don't like about this episode, it has nothing to do with the writing. I just do not like how grody that foot looks.
Yeah,
It's like a big, gross purple foot infection with yellow fungal spores all over it.
yeah, it's pretty gross.
And so Courage, you know, like the foot decides that it wants to knock over Florida,
Yeah, there's
and Courage, in an uncharacteristic human display of affection for Florida
hey,
that very few Americans would have,
look,
decides that the foot must be stopped.
look, we're not all bad in Florida.
Oh, that's right, you are one of them.
Yeah, from North Florida, explicitly the bad part.
Yeah,
It's like the yin
crazy.
yang symbol. You know how there's like darkness and there's motion in activity and there's activity in motion. For every five racist transphobes, you get one of me.
That's good to know.
So yeah, the Courage, he's gonna save Florida and also the family. So he rips a piece of horrible goo off of the Foot, and he takes it to our old friend the computer. And the computer is like, "This is awful. I have some good news though. There is a cure, and I have it written here in quotes. Work up a good drool, baby."
Yeah, the only cure is dog slobber.
So Courage begins licking the Foot.
I don't much care for the bit where he licks the foot.
He does lick that Foot a whole bunch. But Eustace is saved. Muriel is unsquished. Less farting. Eustace is dazed but otherwise unharmed by the experience. And
Which is a rare positive occurrence for him.
yeah, like this is an episode where Eustace is not only not the villain, he is in fact the victim and needs saving from something that is not his own hubris for a change.
Yeah, he just got unlucky this time.
Yeah, it just happens.
So the episode ends, and it turns out that uh, because Courage licked the foot a bunch, his tongue is now infected with Chicago gangsters.
Yeah, now he's got big tongue. So I take it he didn't really care much for the Bigfoot because of how gross it was.
It was just kind of gross. I have no writing problems with this episode, which is really, I think, the most important part. It's just,
Yeah,
I don't like feet.
I get you. I would say for me, it's definitely an episode carried by the strength of its gags. I just, I think the ice cube gag and the train kick, they tickle my funny bone in a particular way, and the fact that Florida gets brought up. I don't know why that makes me laugh. Just like, yeah, let's knock over Florida, like the whole state.
So yeah, like it's a classic tale of a Chicago foot and a Floridian. So it's basically this podcast.
Yeah, see, it's it's like poetry. It rhymes. You're you're a Bigfoot and you're coming to kick me. But instead of like literally, it's with friendship. So yeah, I would say overall, I the King Ramsey episode's by far and away the better of the two. You know, just that is what it is. But I'd say that if you've got more of a stomach for like old school weird 90s kind of gross humor, then you probably won't hate the Bigfoot or the clutching foot. There's not really a lot to talk on about this episode as far as like interesting themes and stuff like that, because it's pretty.
It's really just kind of a goof episode.
Yeah, like even the first part, there's no like deeper meaning. It's just that Eustace is a victim of his own hubris, and in the second episode, it's just a big gross foot. It's a very funny thing to say, but it is just a big gross foot. You know, take care of your feet. Don't wear the same pair of socks more than you have to, especially if you lead an active lifestyle. And be sure to wash your feet with a good soap.
Remember to wash your feet, cowards.
Yes, you don't have to show us. I trust you to do it.
Man, I wish we have enough fans that we start getting feet pics.
Do you want feet pics?
No, I just want fans. Feet pics just come with them.
What's the opposite of? It's like a tax.
Like, you must accept. If you want fans, you must accept that at least one of them is going to be creepy enough to send you some pictures you do not want.
Been there.
Yeah.
I think.
All right.
I think you can't exist on the internet without having been there at some point in your life. But yeah, so a little bit of a shorter episode, and hopefully we get back into a more regular recording schedule going forward. But
I will attempt.
Yeah, But again, this is done more as like a hobby than like a serious thing that I'm trying to make money on. This is just a fun way to spend time with my friend Notice.
Aww.
So that's all for now. Happy what's the next holiday we got coming up? Happy Groundhog's Day. And
yeah, Groundhog, I think.
And happy Groundhog's Day. And happy Groundhog's Day.
I would do Valentine, but Groundhog works too.
You don't like Puxatawny Phil?
He stole my job. But that's a story for another day.
You don't live in Philadelphia.
Not yet.
Oh. Okay. Well, happy Groundhog's Day. And, happy Groundhog's Day. And happy Groundhog's Day.
And happy Groundhog's Day.
And once again, stupid dog, you made me podcast.